Shirmai, Yashirallah, Yehovah, Allah Hayanawa, Yehovah, Shirmai, Yashirallah, Yehovah, Allah Hayanawa, Yehovah, Shirmai, Yashirallah, Yehovah, Allah Hayanawa, Yehovah,
Read that, stay in the book. When I leave home, I stay in the book. When my spirit low, I stay in the book. When I need more, I stay in the book. When I need I stay in the book. When I need to grow, I stay in the book. When I feel low, I stay in the book. I stay in the book. I stay in the book. Quote that, read that, stay in the book. When I leave home, I stay in the book. When my spirit low, I stay in the book. When I need more, I stay in the book. When I need I stay in the book. When I need to grow, I stay in the book. When I feel low, I stay in the book. I stay in the book. I stay in the book. Y'all been rock the body. How so much power coming out my body. I could turn water to the potent iron. Wish we had this when they smoked the Mayans. Quote that, read that, folks is lying. They never gon' teach what was written by them. They know the outcome don't provoke the lion. It's potent, so focus and don't deny it. I just take a hit and I'm choking by it. The Lord got smoke for the Goyim tyrants. They gon' get hit when your boy inspired. The Lord made vengeance with the words of Kayim. They live by the sword, so they dying by it. And I speak the word with the sword of fire. We above the birds, we are ordered higher. The border deserve the fire, like quote that, read that, stay in the book. When I leave home, I stay in the book. When my spirit low, I stay in the book. When I need more, I stay in the book. When I need I stay in the book. When I need to grow, I stay in the book. When I feel low, I stay in the book. I stay in the book. I stay in the book. Quote that, read that, stay in the book. When I leave home, I stay in the book. When my spirit low, I stay in the book. When I need more, I stay in the book. When I need I stay in the book. When I need to grow, I stay in the book. When I feel low, I stay in the book. I stay in the book. I stay in the book. Yabaraka Yadi, feel the spirit moving through my soul and body. Everything I touch turn to gold and probably. If I stay in the spirit, I behold the godly. People learn to God when they strolling by me. Get a hold of God when I'm holding Bobley. Wrapped in a word like it's Cole and Mari. Cause I stay in this place like Cole and Tommy. Bold in the face of the Roman century. Molding my sons to be my own infantry. Protecting my wife when I hold her gently. Teaching my daughter how to know a mission. But sometimes I slip. And I lose my grip. And I lose my wisdom. So that's why I do this. I quote that, read that, stay in the book. When I leave home, I stay in the book. When my spirit low, I stay in the book. When I need more, I stay in the book. When I need I stay in the book. When I need to grow, I stay in the book. When I feel low, I stay in the book. I stay in the book. I stay in the book. Quote that, read that, stay in the book. When I leave home, I stay in the book. When my spirit low, I stay in the book. When I need more, I stay in the book. When I need I stay in the book. When I need to grow, I stay in the book. When I feel low, I stay in the book. I stay in the book. I stay in the book.
Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. All praise to the Most High, man. Hey, have not been in here consistently, so it feel good to be back on the class. Do me a favor, right? Blast this out to the people who need to see it. Blast this out to the people who need to see it. And by the looks of things, that's everybody, right? So all praise to the Most High, man. Good to see y'all back in the building. Shouts out to Sister Joanne Gilchrist, Johanna Israel, you know, it's her name on here. Aharon, right? Tribe of Five, Sister Issachar, all right, and everybody else who I don't see in the comments. So shalom to everybody. Now, what I'm probably going to end up doing is getting right into it. So they got me on a crazy shift this week. I got to wake up early, super early in the morning, right? I'll run crazy. But I gotta wake up super early in the morning, so I gotta get in and get out. You understand? But this is a very good lesson from the standpoint of what I've been seeing with my eyes, right? Now, this is what the title of the class is: Religious Hebrew Israelites, All Talk, No Action. Right? And me and Judah been talking about this a lot. Me and some other brothers been talking about it. I spoke to some brothers outside of the camp about it. What we see in this community is we see a lot of people who they talk a lot, and really it comes from a place of you just super religious. That's what that is. You don't really care about how far we can push this thing or what next level we can attain. You just religious. You just here because you think that God is going to favor you. The Most High is going to favor you just because you showed up and just because you tried your best to keep the commandments. But that's where you drew the line and you stopped there. And to me, that's the definition of religion. So we're going to get into that. All right. We're going to get into that, what that means. All right. Once again, y'all blast this out and we're going to go ahead and get started. All right. So I'm going to actually make this a little bit bigger. So, thumbnail. Got to start with the thumbnail this time. Why did I use this? It's always a brother who got a great idea. It's always a brother who, you know what I'm saying, maybe he nice with the scriptures. It's always a brother who disagrees publicly with you on Facebook. These people can fall into any one of these categories, right? But then when it's time to put the foot into the dirt and make things happen, it's hard to get that support. How many people has seen this, or how many people has experienced this in the community? Right now, this is not simply our community. This is every community. You go to the conscious community, right, with Sinetta and them boys. It's people in there that's serious about the community. It's people in there that's just there for the entertainment. It's other people that's there because they want to debate or they want to bring you to their channel. Whatever the case is, it's always going to be people who move in this manner. And in each one of these situations, you can call this religious behavior. Right? So we do a lot of talking as Israelites, and we say, bro, we not religious. This is a culture. This is not a religion. I disagree with that. Religion is a part of culture. Number one, religion is a part of culture. And there's nothing wrong with religion. The problem is when you stop at only religion, that's when it's a problem. So that's what this class is about. All right. So, number one, stop saying this is not a religion. That's number one. First thing we're going to cover. So, let me pull this up. Right. I'm going to pull this up. I want to make sure I'm following along on my other screen here. Okay. So, number one, stop saying this is not a religion. When we look at the definition of religion, right, on the left and on the right, you're going to see the belief in and worship of a superhuman power. Check. We do that. Especially a god or gods, right? Now, that last part can actually be taken out because religion, you could be religious. Some people will use the word religious in different ways. Like they'll be like, yo, I watched the football game religiously, right? It's because it's something that they have put heavy emphasis on, right? As we're going to see in the second definition here. Watch this. It says a particular system of faith and worship, but the last one says a pursuit of interest to which someone ascribes supreme importance. That's the most important definition right there at the bottom on the left, on that left screenshot at the bottom. A pursuit or interest to which someone ascribes supreme importance. That is a religion. So when people tell you, I go to the mall on Thursdays religiously, that is something they put supreme importance into, right? If somebody says, I watch the football game religiously, they put supreme importance on that football game. All right, let's keep going. A personal set of institutionalized system of religious attitudes, beliefs, and practices. Do we not have that? We have that. We have a personal set of institutionalized system or religious attitudes, beliefs, and practices. We have all of that. The service and worship of God or the supernatural. We have that. Commitment or devotion to religious faith or observance. We have that. A cause, principle, or system of beliefs held to with and faith. Right? Now that's kind of weird right there, but we have that as well. Right? Thank you. So the brothers already starting to put precepts in the chat about where the word religion shows up. Right? So we can see here, First Maccabees. I'm gonna pull this real quick. First Maccabees 2:22. Right? This is funny because somebody pulled this recently. But First Maccabees 2:22. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion either on the right hand or the left. And we're going to actually go into what that word means when you see that word in the Bible, right? So that's absolutely right. Sister Issachar said the religion of Yah. That's right. The shirt I had on right before this said Yah on it, right? From the book of Psalms. So look at what it says here in the red. It says the English word religion appears 5 times in the KJV in the New Testament. Okay. It appears 5 times. All of them in the New Testament, as we said, and it appears in 2 different ways. You have 2 different Greek words that show up. Let's go into it a little bit. Okay. So the first word you get, and actually, let me give you these references first so you can look at this. The first reference is in Acts 26:5. Let me go back. And it's right here in the center of the screen, right? But Acts 26:5 is the first one. Galatians 1:13 and 14, and then James 1:26 and 27. So these are the ways the word religion is used. So when we tell people we not religious, we have to put a context on that because we're going against the definition of the word religion, right? We do have a religion and we are religious. The problem is we cannot stop with being religious. We have to take our faith and we have to take our action in loving our brothers and in loving the Most High past the area of religion, right? That's what this lesson is going to be about. So let's keep going. So let's go to that next slide real quick. Okay, so the same Greek word is in the book of Acts 26:5 and James 1:26 through 27. So we said that the word religion, the English word religion, shows up 5 times in the New Testament, and 3 of those times it's the same word, and that's the word that's on the screen, right? Thrakesia. And Thrakesia says religion, worship or religion. So your style of worship, your system of worship, that can be called a religion, right? So look what it says. It comes from the derivation threskos, right? And it shows all the places where it shows up in the Bible. So this is what being religious means. Now, remember, we said there was 5 places in the New Testament. The other 2 places is in Galatians. And in Galatians, it uses a whole different word. Now, this is where some of us going to get cut. So we got to be careful to say, we got to be careful to put it in its right context. Okay. If we're going to be highlighting the fact that we're not religious, then we have to be distinguishing the definition of the word we're trying to say that we're not. Right. But I would make the argument that all human beings are religious. Okay. If you just simply look at the word, the definition of the word religious, all human beings are religious. But if we were to stick to the Bible itself, that first definition is talking about how we worship. So if we have a style of worship, by definition, we are religious, according to the Bible. The second way, according to the Bible, we can say that you are religious is right here. Okay, Galatians 1:14. And I'm going to read that in the KJV real quick so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Okay, Galatians 1:14 says, and profited in the Jews' religion. Let me start up a little bit. But verse 11, but I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Hamashiach Yahushua. For you have heard of my conversation in times past in the Jews' religion, how that beyond measure I persecuted the church of God and wasted it, and profited in the Jews' religion above many my equals in my own nation, being more exceedingly jealous of the traditions of my fathers. Now, what is this word religion mean? Let's get into it. This word right here for religion is eudasimos, right? Or eudaismos, I should say, eudaismos. And the word eudaismos is the word Jew, but it's in the dative form. So now we got to slow down and talk about the dative form a little bit, right? So the dative form is used to indicate the role of a noun. The dative case often answers the question of to whom or for whom, right? So when we think about eudaismos, it's really saying something that is to or for the Jews, okay? It could be translated to the Jews, for the Jews, or of the Jews. So if we teach on one hand that the law, statutes, and commandments is only for the children of Israel, that means by definition, it's to the Jews, for the Jews, and of the Jews. And the exact word for that religion in the Greek is eudaismos. And in English, they translated that word into religion. All right. I hope y'all caught that. So on one hand, we Hebrew Israelites are teaching people we not religious. On the other hand, we're literally telling people that we are the definition of religious. So we got to slow down on that. We have something that is to, for, and of us specifically and exclusively for us. And the Greek term is used to denote such a thing. But then when it's translated as a religion. Now, this is why I say religious Hebrew Israelites, all talk, no action, right? Let's make that make sense. And before we do that, let's look at Romans 6:11. Let me read Romans 6:11 real quick. Right? Y'all got to walk with me because we're going to follow a path of logic here. So Romans 6:11 says, likewise, reckon ye also yourselves to be dead indeed unto sin, but alive unto God through Jesus Christ our Lord. Hamashiach Yahushua our Adawan, right? Now, when you look at this in the Greek, the word God there is used in the dative form. So what's being said in that verse is be alive for God, be alive to God, be alive unto God, something to that degree, right? That's the only reason I go into that verse to show you when you see a Greek word used in the dative form, that's how you translate it. That's how you make it make sense. In this particular case, for the word eudaismos, they chose to use a totally different word, but the word they chose was religion. All right. Very important to understand what's going on here. So let's make the point and let's move on to the next one. So the point here is that by definition, it doesn't matter which definition we use. We can use the first definition of religion, meaning to be dedicated to something or religious worship or anything like that. We can use that definition and say that we are definitely religious. Or we can use the second definition, which we just found in the dative form, which means pertaining to the Jews, of the Jews, or for the Jews. And in that case, we are also religious. So if we are going to go around and tell people we're not religious, that is directly contradicting what the Bible says, what the definition of the word says, and just basic logic, because every human on earth is religious, right? Based on definitions alone. Now, let's keep going. So now that we got the word religious out the way, let's bridge the gap, because we got to understand, why am I saying religious Hebrew Israelites all talk, no action? So the English word religion in the KJV comes from the word worship. We saw that with the first definition. The other word, the second definition, is just saying it's something for or of the Jews. So here, being religious means that you do something related to worship that is of the Jews, right? Everybody following that? Put a 7 in the chat. If everybody's following that, put a 7 in the chat. I want to make sure we're not making no conclusions that people don't understand, right? Essentially, to be religious just means that you are dedicated to doing something that is specifically to, for, and of the Jews. All right. That's what religious means in the Bible. All right. Now, watch this. Being religious does not prove that you did any action. This is why I said earlier that we have to take it beyond religion. Religion is one leg of culture. In culture, you have clothing, food, the way you eat, your rituals, your constitution, your religious practice, your community practices. What tangible things do you bring to the world? All of what ideas come from your culture specifically and not necessarily from other cultures. All of these things are culture, and religion is one aspect of that. And I believe the reason many Israelites don't want to do nothing in the community, don't want to step up and be active, is because they overly religious. They focus on one part of the culture and leave all the other parts of the culture undone. Right? Watch this. Being religious does not prove any action at all. This is why you can get Pharisees and scribes in the New Testament who will walk past the homeless and recite a Bible verse to you. Yo, y'all breaking the Sabbath. Why are you over here healing people on the Sabbath? Because they don't get it. They overly focused on the religious aspects of the scriptures. Right? Let's keep going. Major point number 1, being religious does not prove that you take any action. Because remember, being religious is a cause, principle, or system of beliefs that is held to with ardor and faith, meaning fervently. You fervently hold on to these beliefs, but that don't mean you take no action. Right? Number 2, how are we told to judge? Right? I know y'all got precepts, but I'm gonna fly through this part. How are we told to judge according to the Bible? By the fruit. We're not told to judge by your belief system. When did Hamashiach Yahushua say, judge a person by what they believe and ignore their actions? So if we're going to be overly religious, it better come with some actions, because that's how we're supposed to judge a tree, is by the actions, by the fruit that it brings forth. Right? Let's go into this. Matthew chapter 7, starting at verse 16. Look at it. See, this brother's on it. James 1:27. Let's read that real quick first. James 1:27. Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this: to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction. That's an action that must be carried out, or your religion is in vain. And watch this. And to keep himself unspotted from the world. That's another action that you have to perform. Otherwise, your religion is not pure and undefiled before God and the Father. Right? And when it says God and the Father, it's not saying God is separate from the Father. It's saying God, which is the Father. Right? So that's an excellent verse. Excellent verse. Let's get Matthew 7 and 16 real quick. Look what it says. It says, you know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth forth not good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Notice, I'm not even going to say that yet. I got to save that part. Let me pull up my notes to make sure I don't pass that part real quick. Boom, 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 boom. Yes. Okay. We're going to highlight that. I'm going to come back to it. Verse 19 again, every tree that bringeth forth not good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Verse 20, wherefore by their fruits you shall know them. By their fruits you shall know them. I want to emphasize something. We know here that the men are the trees in this verse, and we know that their actions are the fruit. But I want you to see something. Verse 17 says, even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. The point here is the type of fruit you bring forth. Bringing forth anything is a verb, which denotes an action. And watch this. Bringing forth that fruit is what you're going to be judged and understood by. Not the fact that you believed in the fruit. So let's use an example, right? Let's say every person created is a type of tree. The Most High might have created you. Your whole job is to just be a positive person in the community. That's your gift, is you able to be positive in most situations. So the Most High gave you that gift. He created you as a tree that can automatically create that fruit. And then the Most High created me as a tree that automatically creates other types of fruit, right? So when you go into a garden, you look and you got a variety. You got this type of fruit, you got that type of fruit. The kingdom is the same way. So many men have been created to bring forth and produce various different types of fruit. Every man is not going to bring forth the same type of fruit. Now, let's say that you're a tree and you have all the gifts, talents, and abilities that you need to bring forth such fruit, but you simply believe that you can bring forth the fruit. You don't never bring nothing forth. What good is that tree? And according to this verse, it don't matter what you believe. So that rules out religion alone, right? So religion alone is now ruled out. Doctrine alone is now ruled out. Okay, going to camp alone is now ruled out. You have to produce the type of fruit that you was created to produce. Some people are gifted to be speakers and teachers. So they are given that gift. The Most High created them with that gift, and through life they honed it and got better at it. And now they can bring forth the fruit that they was created to bring forth. Some other people may not be given that same gift, but they was given a gift. And a lot of people, because they're not able to teach, they hold back their gift because they don't think it's important. And at the end of the times, the Most High gonna come and say, yo, I ain't never see your fruit, man. I gave you this gift. You was blessed to be good with numbers, and you are an accountant in your regular life. But then when you come to the Israelite community, you don't bring that expertise. You didn't give the fruit to my people, and I created you so that you could give those fruit to my people. So get away from me. I never knew you. You see that? So we got to understand that's how you're going to be judged. So if you got that spirit on you to do something in this community, damn it, you better be doing it, bro. Because if you're not doing it, you're going to be cut down and thrown away. Simply being on this class right now don't get you no points in the kingdom. Showing up at camp and reading for a brother and then going back home and not doing nothing all week with the rest of your talents and abilities don't get you no points. Sorry to break it to you. You got to take everything the Most High gave you and you got to maximize everything he gave you. That's how you're gonna be seen as faithful in the kingdom. What did Paul do? Paul didn't take one talent that he had and only bring it out on the Sabbath. Only bring it out when it's time for him to teach on a class. No. Paul was giving all of his talents, all of his abilities, all of his life to this truth and to the kingdom. Right? That's right. Maximize your potential. Because a lot of y'all playing with the Most High. Right? Hey, I'm playing with the Most High at certain times. When I'm sitting back, dwindling away, playing video games, wasting time. But we have multiple things we can do to better ourselves and better the kingdom. All right, let's keep going. So that's how you're going to be judged is according to your actions and according to your fruit, not your religion, right? So your fruit means action. If you don't take nothing else from this lesson, your fruit is action, and that action is not only getting on these classes, wearing fringes, wearing a damn beard, and just being a wasted piece of talent and ability for the rest of your life outside of having a beard on your face. Sisters, outside of having a head wrap on. If you have talents and abilities, you better be using them to the fullest of your potential. And get with a organization who allows you to do so. You see what I'm saying? Now look at this. Proverbs 11 and 30. Let me read this real quick. It says, the fruit of the righteous. I want to prove to you what the word fruit means in the Bible. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise. Right? Yes. Boom. Hey, that's right. Exodus 23. I'm going to pull that up in the background real quick. Exodus 23 and 16. Yeah, that's excellent. I gotta share this. Let me pull this up. I'm gonna share my screen. Y'all look at this. Right? Exodus 23 and 16. And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in all thy labors out of the field. Now we know that originally this represented working in the field, but we know also that the scripture is double to that which is, according to Job 11 and 6, right? So the scriptures are, the wisdom of the scriptures is double to that which is. So yes, we're talking about the herbs of the field. We talk about what you in gathering during the harvest, but we also talking about the first fruit of your labor, the work that you do on this earth. Right? Why would the Most High give you those hands and those feet if it wasn't to praise him with it? If it wasn't to bring something to the kingdom with it? He damn sure didn't create you to tear the kingdom down. Right? And some of y'all doing that. But we need to be we need to be bringing the first fruit of our labors to the harvest. This is why Christ always compared us to being fruitful and men who don't bring forth fruit, because this entire thing is a harvest. So I'm happy the brother brought that out. That's cool. Right? Let's go back to this. So Proverbs 11 and 30 says, the fruit of the righteous is the tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise. Now we go over this every once in a while. When you see fruit, or when you see a verse like this and you got a semicolon in the middle of the verse, that semicolon generally denotes that the first and second half are parallels. They're either equals or opposites. Okay? In this case, the first and second part of this verse is equal, right? So the fruit of the righteous is a tree of life. That same fruit in the second half of the verse is he that winneth souls. You see that? So these things represent your action. There's no way around it. We can watch, and we're going to show it. I'm going to bring it up on the screen here in a second as well. But there's many ways to see this. Look at this next verse. Right? Proverbs 31 and 16. She considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands, she planted a vineyard. Now, question. How do you have the fruit of your hands? It's the actions of your hands, the actions of your doings. Right? So a wise woman with the fruit of her hands, with the actions of her hands, she's making a vineyard. She's making a place where it can be more fruitful. This is why we say that the woman is a helpmeet, right? Because a woman who prays, and I had this in the slideshow if y'all was paying attention, but a woman who prays is a very valuable asset. In fact, if you read the scripture, a woman who prays is one of the most valuable assets in the whole Bible. Right? We see places where the nation is saved from a woman who prays. Right? We see places where salvation is brought forth through a woman who prays. We see places where a child is born through a woman who prays. Like, it's a lot of stuff. So she can be fruitful with her hands. The works of her hands can bring forth a vineyard, and that vineyard represents multiplying fruit. Not only, and think about it, even from a simple standpoint, a woman who is fruitful with her hands is building her house. And through building her house and making her house fruitful, everybody in the house becomes more fruitful. Right? So this is what we got to think about. And this video is more than just for the men, it's for the women. That's why I purposely put these verses in here. Right? Don't be religious when you come into this. That's why we be mad at the Christian church. But let me burst a lot of y'all bubble real quick. Because I don't want to hear nothing else about the Christian church. Right? Let me make my thing small real quick. I don't want to hear nothing else bad about the Christian church. This is why. Following slavery, the Christian church was the biggest proponent of black people on the earth. Anybody can debate that. We can debate that. That's easy. The Christian church was the biggest machine pushing our people from slavery all the way to the destroying of Tulsa and Black Wall Street and all these different communities, Colfax, Louisiana, all these different communities we had, Durham, North Carolina, all that. Because they had people that was willing to take the resources they had and still do today, even though we don't agree with their doctrine. I want you to simply look at the fruitfulness inside the church as far as how people bring their talents to the church. And then I want you to take that same eyeball and turn it back to the camp and look at the fruitfulness of the camp. Right? People going to be mad at this, but I don't care. Look at the Christian church. You got somebody who show up and play the piano. Another dude who show up, play the bass guitar. Another dude who show up, play the drums. That's three people right there that's showing up doing something they don't got nothing to do with doctrine or religion. They just show up because they like doing it. Then you got a whole nother group of women. They call it the Missionary Society, right? They just go out and go to the food kitchen. They go to the Raleigh mission and they hand out plates. That's all they do. That's their job. You got an outreach ministry, right? Brother, crazy, man. I'm telling you. Hey, look, they got an outreach ministry. Outreach ministry show up at your house and pray with random people they ain't never seen before. Knock on your door. You come to the door. Yo, what's going on? Hey, look, we just in the neighborhood. We just want to pray for you. They're not pastors. They're not Sunday school teachers. They just the people who show up to pray for you. You got another group of people in the church. They just hold the doors. That's all they do. They got white gloves on. They walking through real smooth. Hey, you need anything? You need some water or something like that? Make sure you got a fan. Making sure people sitting down smooth. I want you to pay attention, bro. I'm going to give y'all a parable that I wasn't going to share yet, but I'm about to share it. Right? Let me pull it up real quick. And I need y'all to be engaged in this. So look at this. It came to pass that in a certain land, there was a man named Elias who owned a great vineyard filled with ripe grapes as the harvest season approached. Elias gathered his workers and divided them by their tasks. Some tended to the cattle, ensuring they were strong to plow the fields, while others gathered the fruit from the vines. Skilled bundlers gathered the grapes into clusters, and transporters carried the bundles to the storeroom for safekeeping. As the days passed, each worker fulfilled his duty with diligence. When the time came for Elias to sell his goods, the process was smooth and efficient, for each man knew his role. The bundles were plentiful and well arranged, and the carts were filled to the brim. Elias went to the marketplace, sold his goods with great joy. The buyers marveled at the quality and abundance of the grapes. Then Elias proclaimed, "Behold the blessing of the Lord. In unity and in order, we have achieved what could have not been done alone." Right? Now, why am I reading that? Because in the parable, everybody's doing their job. Everybody's doing their job. And now no one man has to carry the ball from the beginning of the process all the way to the end of the process. This man carries the ball his short way. He's done with his job. He goes home. This next man he picks up the baton here. He goes there. He goes home. Next man picks it up here. He takes it there. He goes home. Final man picks it up there, takes it to completion. But see, that can't happen when people are simply religious and they don't come with the mind state that they have to bring forth action in order to be successful in this community. We talk so much garbage about the church, and most people in the community don't do nothing at all. Right? Now, this is not a bad session towards Israel. This is simply about religious Hebrew Israelites that are all talking, no action. Just make sure it's not you. Make sure it's not you. I want to read what the brother said. He said, most black people follow the Roman Catholics and there are many religions. Most black people don't have a clue who they are because of their own stupidity by following whitewash doctrine. I agree with that. But I think what I'm teaching right now is that the people in our community have not taken the good that we could have learned from Christianity and brought it over. So we came over here only to reinvent the wheel from the ground up. Even when you look at, pay attention to this, even when you look at the New Testament, right? Where did the Pharisees come from? Maybe I'll teach a lesson on this. The Pharisees are a sect of religious leaders, and they're not necessarily Levites. The Pharisees arose after the captivity in Babylon. Synagogues arose after the captivity in Babylon. History proves that, right? So we left Babylon and we saw how they was doing their religions, and we took a little bit of that for good and for bad. Why do I say for good and for bad? The Most High did not establish the Pharisees. The Most High, and I'll say that loosely, the Most High did not tell Moses, create a group of Pharisees. He did not say that. The Most High said, get you a group of skilled and learned men who are fervent in spirit and who are dedicated to the law of the Most High, and have them teach the people. And then he also commissioned the Levites to teach the people, right? Teaching them the difference from the clean and the profane. That's what the Most High established. But when we went to Babylon, we saw how they was doing their religion, and we took a little bit of that, learned from it. And then by the time of Christ didn't say, yo, it ain't even supposed to be no Pharisees. He didn't say that. What he said was, do everything they teach you, just don't do what they do. So in that situation, we came out of captivity. We learned a little bit from them, good and bad. We should have learned how to take the good, spit out the bones, and move forward with the good that we learned. That's what I'm asking for us to do when we dealing with the Christian church. When we looking at the Christian church, we should look at that system and say, yo, I don't like that. I don't like that doctrine. I don't like the fact that they just allow the homosexuals to be up in there and just run wild. But they got organization down. They got outreach down. They got praise and worship down. Like certain things they got it. And we left there and was like, nah, we don't want nothing y'all got. And now we building everything from the ground up, when in reality, it was our ancestors who set that stuff up in the Christian church unknowingly. Right? So anyway, I'm off my rant, right? I'm done ranting. Look what Sister Issachar said. She said, walk the walk, not just talk the talk. That's it. That's all I'm asking. right? Because when we religious, when we overly religious and we just take that one part of culture and we say, listen, this the only thing I care about is the doctrine. It's the only thing I care about. It's so much parts of culture that's left undone. Listen, I say this all the time. We go to the streets and we beg people to come in. We beg people to come into the marriage. We bid people to come into the marriage. When they come into the marriage, they don't have no Israelite movies to go watch. Their children don't have no Israelite cartoons to go watch. They don't have no Israelite comic books to go watch. They don't have no Israelite family channels to watch on YouTube. So we bringing them into something and taking everything else away from them and not giving them something to replace it. And that's never successful. Imagine you leave your job. Your job got benefits, right? Your job got benefits. Now you don't like the boss, right? They talk to you crazy and they got you doing stuff you don't believe in at this job. But you got life insurance, health insurance, dental, medical. You got all these different incentives to work there. Paid time off, X, Y, and Z. Then an Israelite brother comes up and says, yo, I'm gonna offer you a job. I'm not gonna talk to you crazy. I'm not gonna make you do nothing against your religion, but I can't give you no paid time off. I can't give you no insurance. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do that. Sometimes for people, it comes down to making those type of decisions in this life. And because we know that, we can build those things so that our people have more beneficial things inside the community. That's the point, right? That's the point right there. Let's see what else he said. He said, Israel taught the wicked ones their ways. The other nations can backslide because God never gave his commandments and laws to anyone but Israel. We sinned against God, not the Gentiles. All right. So let's keep going. Let's keep going because I stayed on that too long. Major point number 2 was your fruit is your action. You are not judged by your religion, which is your strongly held belief. And this is a tough saying to understand, but I'm gonna say it. You are not judged by your breakdowns. You're not judged by your breakdowns. How can I say that confidently? Because we all teach that we prophesy in part. Paul said that he prophesies in part. Everybody in the New Testament taught Christ was coming back during their generation. If they was being judged by their doctrine, none of them would make the kingdom. They believed that Christ would return during their generation, during their lifetimes. They also believed while they was walking with Christ that he was going to restore the kingdom to Israel while he was on earth. And that's why a lot of them fell away, because when he died, they was like, what? They never understood the doctrine until he resurrected and the spirit came upon them. Then they started being able to put it together because Christ gave them the spirit. Hamashiach gave them the spirit. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. If you are leaning on it like, yo, my doctrine is the absolute most important thing of my Israelite walk, you are sadly mistaken. I'm going to show you the most important thing of your Israelite walk. So look at this. This is what the brother said. This is the brother from the thumbnail, right? Let's call him, let's call this brother, we got to name him something that ain't nobody else named, right? A ball, right? Let's call this brother a ball, named after Abel, right? And Abel was a good brother, but let's name him a ball. It says, I keep the law, and my labor in the doctrine is my fruit. Now, I want y'all to think about something. Your labor in the doctrine is important, and your labor in the doctrine is a type of fruit. But I personally believe that cannot be your only fruit. It cannot be your only fruit, because your labor in the doctrine does not feed the homeless. Your labor in the doctrine does not care for the widows. Your labor in the doctrine does not make sure that the fatherless are being taken care of and tended to. Your labor in the doctrine is very important in its lane, But we cannot leave undone the fact that there are hungry people in the neighborhood. We cannot leave undone the fact that it's people sending their kids to school and the kid don't got no backpack, the kid ain't got no pencils, nothing. The kid don't even got no shoes. He ain't eat breakfast. Matter of fact, he may have never ate breakfast. But we'll put together money and throw $3,000, $4,000 feast day. I want y'all, bro, we got to think about it. And we get mad at America because Trump living in the White House, and then you walk around the corner from there. You don't even got to walk around the corner. You can literally walk up the street and still see the White House from where you at, and it be homeless people right there on the ground. You see what I'm saying? So why are we acting like our labor in the doctrine is the only fruit that we need to bear when we don't even let the government get away with that? Is the government allowed to only come up with laws and not care about nothing else? Is the government allowed to only debate legal matters and not care about nothing else? But you are the children of Israel, and you're supposed to rule this world in the future times. And the scripture says that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So you need to be practicing that authority, practicing that rulership by caring for the people the way that we supposed to care for the people, because we are the righteous ones. We not supposed to, your government put together programs to take care of the homeless. The government of Babylon put together programs to take care of the homeless, and you using all the money on a feast day. So let's challenge this. Let me get 1 John 3:18. I had to call that brother Judah to get a precept this week, man, because we're gonna show y'all something. We're gonna challenge the idea that your doctrine is the only thing you need to labor in. 1 John 3:18 says, "My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth." We can't only love in word and in tongue, or I'm going to even throw in doctrine. We can't love only in that way. We have to love in deed. I have to take deeds into my love for the people, because they need that. I'm not going to lie to you. If I'm homeless and I just need a couple of dollars to get my next meal, it's wonderful that you came and gave me some scriptures and gave me a breakdown from Deuteronomy 28, but please give me some food before you leave. That's how some of the people feeling, bro. That's where they at. Now, if you read A Time After Forever, I go into that and I debate that, and I talk about why I feel that we have to address needs first. Because when you don't address needs, then other things become periphery, not as important. That's like me. If I'm going to work every day, yeah, I love my job. You know what I'm saying? I have to show up to my job. And let's say I own a business. I love my job. I have to show up to my job. But if I don't eat, I'm just gonna die. It don't matter how much I love the job. So take that same thought process to the homeless people that we talking to week in and week out. Don't just show up and hit them with Deuteronomy 28 and pack up after 3 hours. Bring some food out there for them sometimes. Right? Let's get Romans 13:8. These are scriptures that always come out. Romans 13:8 says, "Owe no man anything but to love one another, for he that loveth another has fulfilled the law." This is how we fulfill the law. And the alternate English word for love is charity, meaning that we're doing something. Love is an action that helps other people, not just the doctrine. Right? The doctrine is a crucial part of it. But if we come in with just doctrine, sadly, we are not helping. Because your government is not allowed to do that. Your government is not allowed to only give you laws and then walk away. They're not allowed to only tax you and then walk away, because the people would revolt. That's not a guess. This is historical fact. When you look at the Northern Kingdom, why Northern and Southern Kingdom, why they revolted, right? It was because of taxes. You see what I'm saying? It was because of taxes. When you look at Rwanda or you know what I'm saying, Ghana or South Africa, all these different places, the government was not balancing out the laws they was putting against the people with how they was helping the people. That's righteous judgment. We have to balance out the law, the doctrine that we working with, and the help that we working with. We have to. That's the only way to be a successful, lasting government. Right? All right. So let's go in. Let's hit James. This one is the one for me. This one is the one for me, and then we can really wrap this up. James 2:15. If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding, you give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit? This is heavy. Stop showing up to people saying shalom to them, depart in peace, speaking smooth words to them, be warmed and filled. Yo, man, I hope the Most High be with you, man. And then sending them on their damn way. That's crazy. If the man need food, that's what he need. You giving him some scriptures did not get rid of the need for food. You breaking down Deuteronomy 28 and teaching him he an Israelite and then posting it on YouTube and getting 20,000 views did not get rid of the fact that he needs somewhere to stay at. This is why a lot of the times those people never show back up, because it's like, damn, just another Christian church. Imagine you showed up and you had a situation for that brother where, yo, come to the school, you know what I'm saying? Get these weeds for me. I'll throw you a couple of dollars. Come to the school, do this. I'll give you some bottles of water. Every time you come here, you got water. Don't worry about it. Only thing I need you to do is help me keep it clean out here. Right? If we make an opportunity for our people, then they are more willing to be healed from our actions. Right? It's easy to heal them from our actions. Look at what she said. We can't live by bread alone, but that don't mean not to have bread. That's cold. We can't live by bread alone, but that don't mean you got to stop eating. Right? And that's what it means by religious Hebrew Israelite. You overly religious. You overly religious. And it's crazy. All right, let's keep going. Right? Oh, actually, that was my last slide. So let me make this point clean. The cleanest way I can make this point, I was going to do a conclusion slide, but I ran out of time. The cleanest way I can make this point is, let me go back up. This is the cleanest way I can make this point. Your fruit is your action. You are judged by your fruit. The Most High requires your fruit. Your action is how you prove you love the Most High. Right? Love is an action. All of these things. This is how we show the Most High that we serious about this thing, man. This is how we show him that we serious. All right. And then I'm gonna show you one last thing and we're gonna shut this down. Stop that. Okay. Look at this. This right here is the usage of the word peri, which is fruit. All right. I didn't take a screenshot of the Strong's number, but I'll pull it up for you real quick. Strong's number for. All right. 6529. It's H6529. Okay, I'm gonna put this on the screen. This is what we're looking at in under the third usage, maybe the largest usage of the word fruit in the Bible in the Old Testament is the figurative usage of the word, which means your actions and the consequences of your actions. Right? That's the largest usage of that Hebrew word. And you can go back and look at all those instances on the screen right there. But that means that by and large, when the scripture says judge a man by his fruit, you are judging a man by his actions and judging him by the consequences that he creates and the consequences that come back on him. So don't be a religious Hebrew Israelite that is simply here to be religious. You know what I'm saying? Talk about doctrine all the time, but when it's time to make something happen in the community, you disappear. Let's not do that. We're not doing that over here, right? So all praise to the Most High. I appreciate y'all joining, man. I'm gonna get on up out of here. Y'all enjoy the class tomorrow. The class tomorrow gonna be fire as well. We're gonna see y'all on that class. All right, shalom.